Welcome to Mahala Monday. Absolutely wonderful to have you with us here for another exciting episode. My name is Dougal, and as always, here's Rhoda. Hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome everybody to Mahala Monday.
Yeah, good.
Yes, very good.
Very good, yes. So we're very much looking forward to this episode, but before we tell you more about that, first things first, remember you got to like and share and get involved with Mahala Monday, so just share it to the whole world. That is what you got to do. Now, this specific episode, of course, we've recorded a couple of days ahead of the time. So you watching this now for the first time on the 6th of February. It's amazing how quickly time flies.
It flies, Dougal. I'm quite not excited. I'm kind of scared. I shouldn't say excited.
Month of love.
Oh, wow. Now you have to do that as well. But yeah, it's amazing how the time flies. Let me just say that. It's scary, actually. But you know what? Yes, we're in February.
Yeah, it is. So as we mentioned, of course, Rhoda says time has flown. It certainly has. And we've recorded this for you a couple of days ahead of the time. But it is going to be a very exciting episode. Now, as you know, of course, then the history with Mahala Monday is that we simply feature the best of the best. Par excellence. We go the extra mile. We find you amazing information. But we also focus particularly with a strong focus on people who do amazing things. And these are South Africans that go well and above beyond. And we're not just talking South Africans, we're talking global citizens. People who are making a huge difference, not within their community as well, but with their example, teaches everybody else to do an amazing things. And the problems we normally talk about, Rhoda, are not just geographically to our own backyards. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are things that affect all humans.
All human. And not just South Africa, Dougal. Can I tell you, this is around the world. You know, it's a problem that everybody has. So one shouldn't think that, especially this show today, is isolated. It's not isolated. It affects a lot of people out there.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. But more importantly, it takes an enormously amazing person to take that beacon of hope and love and just the bare essence of humanity and take it forward and to show us how all of this should be done. And this is the instance with today's story and today's program. So joining us in the next few seconds is a gentleman that represents Hanna's Place of Safety, and his name is Rodney Brown. Now, Hanna's Place of Safety is an amazing organization that has done stellar work. And when I say stellar work, I really mean stellar work. As far as organizations go, this is definitely one you got to know their story, and you definitely got to get behind them and support them. So, Rodney, thank you so much for joining us here on Mahala Monday. It is absolutely brilliant to have you along with us. Although we're doing this a little bit earlier, but just for the sake of it, let me say happy Monday and welcome to Mahala Monday. How are you doing, mate?
Good day to you, sir. Good day, ma'am.
It's good to have you with us, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, quickly, Rodney, for the benefit of the viewers, just quickly give us the synopsis. What is Hanna's Place of Safety all about?
Okay, Hanna's Place of Safety is an institution for the safekeeping or the safe care of abandoned and neglected babies, ranging from newborns to the ages of 1 year of age. And primarily, we are a stopgap for moms or for families who has abandoned babies or has abandoned their babies that ends up in our care.
Okay.
And then just one thing, because I'm hearing the age group now. So obviously they get there, they're still small, they're a few days old, if I'm correct, and then up until a year. And then what happens after that?
So what happens is we work closely with DSD and with the Badisas and the RCFFs. So we would get calls or we'd contact with social services or with police or with neighbors or members of the public who has identified children that are being neglected or abandoned. And they then make contact with us as one of the many safe care havens out there in the Mitchells Plain area. So there's quite a few safe care havens in and around Western Cape on the Cape Flats. Yeah. So we used to care for kids, from about 3, 4, 5 years of age, but babies are much easier in terms of the rehabilitation. So they would land up with us for 3 months minimum, up till the ages of 6 or 7 months. And some of them actually celebrated their 1 year birthdays at Hanna's. Wow. So the ages are between 0 or newborn up to a year.
Because Rodney, and thanks for that, because I want to get into the whole background, because Hannah's Place of Safety, it is a remarkable story how this all came about. But before we go into that, how many babies do you currently have at Hannah's Place of Safety?
Okay, at present we have up to about 11 babies at a time. At one stage, normally when it's about the big days, November, December, there is a big demand or a high demand for safe care for babies that needs to go into safe care because, like I said, it's stock taking season and moms forget that they've got kids. And the abandonment over those days are quite prevalent because, you know, it's partying and the inhibitions, they let it go. So, and it's a real scourge on the Cape Flats. And like I said, it's not a Cape Flats issue. It's not a Cape Flats problem. It's a worldwide problem. Abandonment of kids and babies.
Okay. So quickly before, because we're going to talk about this at length, and rightly too, as you remarked, that it is in fact a global a problem and definitely something that should be addressed. And I mean, but Hannah's Place of Safety is certainly making big inroads and definitely advancing that narrative. But getting into it, I mean, it's an interesting story. How did this all start?
Yeah, many years ago, I would say, because this year, October, God willing, Hannah's Place will celebrate its 7th birthday.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it was the brainchild of one Janine Fabe, who is married to Dion Fabe, and they are the custodians, they are the directors and the founders of Hannah's Place of Safety. So for many years, for over 20 years, Janine was in the corporate industry, where she used to travel in and out of South Africa to China and to the States and to wherever, you know, as a footwear specialist. But her love for kids was born when she was a volunteer at Christian Revel, Children's Home.
Okay.
And when the staff used to do these spunbos and team building exercises, they used to, you know, be in search of volunteers, and that is where Janine was quite prevalent in terms of wanting to stay with this one particular baby. And at the time, I don't think she was called Hanna, but she was about a couple of days old, and I think Janine took a liking to this child. And long story short, they did the process and followed all the protocols, and that is where Hannah's Place was born, because they brought this child home, you know, from the age of 5 days, and you know the family fell in love with her.
Wow.
And I think because Janine's got there's some sort of there's a correlation, there's a similation between herself and her dad, who was also an abandoned baby or an orphan at the time.
Wow.
And there was that type of togetherness, I would say.
Wow. And I mean, 7 years going strong, and it is amazing. I mean, as you said, I mean, this year you're celebrating 7 years of existence. So obviously, if you're looking at I mean, there's been quite a number of babies that you've looked after over the while.
I'll be honest with you, we have what we call the Tree of Life in one of the rooms at Hanna's Place. It's at the bottom, one of the rooms where we had a tree that was designed for kids who has come through through the doors of Hannah's Place of Safety. And as we sit here, you know, we have had about 100 and odd kids or babies that has come through the doors over the last 7 years. And you know, running an NPO is not for the faint-hearted. I mean, normally NPOs after 2 or 3 years, you can actually see the benefits of the efforts that you have put in over the years. Because let's face it, sustainability is very important. And like any other organization or NPO, you are reliant on funds, you're reliant on donations and volunteer work from the community, companies, big corporates, or just fundraisers for that matter. Yeah. So in essence, we had about 100 and odd kids who came through the system already.
Sure.
That's a lot.
That is remarkable, and I mean that is quite a number. That is a pretty big number.
And I'm just thinking now. I mean, as a mother as well, and Dougal obviously being a dad as well. I mean, when you have a baby, it's nappies, it's formulas. There's a lot of care and attention, especially for a little baby. It's not like maybe a kid that's a bit older that you can say, okay, go put on your clothes, or you know, go to the toilet. It's purely hands-on, having to look after these kids. And I'm thinking the bonding, isn't it difficult after some time when you see this kid grow that you have to let go?
I'll be honest with you, and especially the men. Many of our male friends, look, we are human beings and we become attached, and we all have our favorite little ones that
Oh.
we bond with.
Yeah.
But I think to cut the attachment very soon is key,
Mm.
because as soon as you start visiting Hanna's and you become attached to one or two of the kids, it's very, very difficult to let go.
Oh wow.
And there are needs, and there are, requirements for those kids. And
Mm.
each child or each baby has a different need, because remember, these are kids that come from substance abused, moms that are on tick, on heroin, and on all
Wow.
kinds of substances. And we know that a child that's in the womb already with that's been carried by
Yeah.
a drug-infused
Mm.
mom is already a drug addict.
Mm.
So when the child is born, that child is craving for that drug, heroin or tick or whatever it is already.
Mm.
And when the child is then born and left abandoned, it's very difficult then to try and get that child rehabilitated. And that is where we come in, and as a safe, it's a safe house almost, with our staff, because our staff has got to be, it's a 24/7 operation.
Mm.
And different babies have different needs, because you'd find that especially with the high end drugs that are being used, those kids require a it's a different operation all of a sudden,
Sure.
and like I said, our staff, they are absolutely remarkable when it comes to the well-being and the care of our kids.
The kids. Oh wow.
And Rodney, let's get into this. So the babies, obviously, as you said, abandoned babies. Who places these babies in the care of Hannah's Place of Safety? Is that the department?
So, like I said, we work closely with entities such as DSD, which is the Department of Social Development,
Okay.
and of course they feed the Badisas, the Badisa Tigerbergs, the Badisa Kales River, Elsa's River, uh, and the RC Fifis. So the social services has got some almost a relationship with all these safe houses,
Yeah.
because remember, into safe care is temporary in terms of where the child will go after that. So the safe care is almost the middle, the stop gap. In other words, if you have identified your neighbor as being abusive towards a child, you phone social services or you phone the police. They then send out those social workers to place that child in a place of safety, which is at Hanna's or at any other organization,
All right.
Okay.
for a period of, I would say, minimum 3 months, like I said, sometimes longer. In some cases, we've actually had children who celebrated their first birthdays at Hanna's Place.
Sure.
We also cater for emergencies. So on a Friday night, for instance, someone will phone and say, listen, we're having a baby that is in a shack fire, or the mom and dad has had an argument and the mom is running through the bush, or the father's just, we have to take that child in. So we have to make do for that type of calls as well, which is normally 24 hours to 48 hours that we keep that child in emergency safe care. So yeah, so the joys, or it's scary, and it's real, and it's in our face, and it's not gonna go away anytime soon.
Definitely
No,
not. Definitely not.
it certainly isn't going away. And I mean, when the founders obviously started this is why it is something that has got to be applauded, because it is somebody who's obviously that was desperate to make a difference, and making an effective a difference to the community at large here, which is the only thing that a person can applaud. Now, Rhoda mentioned earlier, obviously, as an organization like yourself as well, as you said, the nappies, just the baby medicines alone. These are costly things. Anybody who's been a parent before, we kind of know how it does. Now, obviously, an organization like yourself, you dependent on donations, you organize fundraisers and stuff like that as well. How can the public in general help you? Firstly, do you need volunteers? Do you need people with skills, or do you need people to physically make contributions?
Yes. So my job on the board is, as secretary, is to look for money, plain and simple. We are always looking for individuals, donations. We're looking for corporates to come out and just, in fact, we are looking for anybody that is willing to put their usela, put sitio mondvayo,
Your mouth is,
So because we have a volunteer system as well.
Okay.
So in order for you to be a volunteer, you obviously have to have these police clearances and all those documentation in place, because I mean that is the way to go now over the last couple of years. I mean even educators, even coaches of kids under the age of 13 or 15, whatever it is, they need all those type of documentation in
Okay.
order for them to work with kids. So my job, like I said, on the board is to look for funds, to have fundraisers, because we have two major fundraisers per year. It is our old school function that we usually have, and it's the golf day. And like I said, one golf day is not going to sustain a company for the rest of their lives. I mean, our salary bill. We've got four major, or at least four major entities that we need to cover. That's salaries for 9 or 10 people, for staff, who basically get stipends anyway.
Yeah.
Then we have a electricity bill, because I mean, let's face it, we go through about 2,000 rands worth of units per month. We have a fuel bill, because we use our own vehicles to get kids to hospital, to the courts, to clinics, to shops when we have to do those things. We have a medical bill. So we do have a concession with doctors in the area, where they would give us some sort of discount for our babies, but sometimes it doesn't always happen. But those are the four main outlets of our of funds that are needed,
Okay.
And if people want to get on board, I mean, we have a Facebook page that is very active. We've got, I think, about 60,000 people on our Facebook page.
Wow.
And let me tell you, they are hands-on, those people, because we almost every week we'll do a live update as to where we are with our kids, what has happened to baby Anne, baby Ruby, baby Rose, because people get used to it's almost like a little story. It's like a verhaal,
Yeah.
And because children come into safecare, if their real name, if their birth name was Amber, in safecare their name will be Everall or Amy, or they just to protect the identity. So we've become so used to our followers knowing what our story is all about, so that they become almost part of the family, because we give updates. So if currently we have a little baby that's very, very ill, but we keep the updates going all the time. Then we also have our website, which is up and running, and it's up to date all the time, www.hannaspaceofsafety.org. That is constantly being updated with information. Our needs list, our banking account details are on there. We have up and coming events as well. We have awareness as
Rodney,
to how you can become
if I can ask you, sorry to cut you,
sure.
what would be on your needs list? Give me an example.
We all know that babies use nappies.
Okay.
Diapers, different types, size 0 to 3. So many of our newborns, our youngest is 4 days old. She would use a size 0. A size 1. We have milk, we have tea gel, we have all these Ilian drops, all the things that a baby would require. And let me tell you, our babies are clothed in brand new clothing. All of them have got, it's almost like warm cots, I would say. So once a baby leaves, the next one comes in, and the circle just keeps on, forming.
Yeah.
So like yesterday, we had a baby that left into a beautiful foster care home for our friends, funnily enough, and people that are on the page. So remember, as a couple, they couldn't have kids for whatever reason. They become friends of Hanna's. They're on our page, and we give them the information. They start doing the documentation. They do the voluntary work at Hanna's. They start latching on, or they start getting familiar with the profile of the babies, and they will be identified as foster parents.
Oh, wow. That's
excellent.
Brilliant.
So that is the process. So now let's talk about, because you said you got an old school function coming as well, which is something that I'm sure you're going to be interested in. That probably speak to our age bracket. Huh?
Yes,
anyway, and
probably.
then you mentioned a golf day. All right, let's hear about that. When is that? Is that still coming?
Yeah. So the golf day this will be our second one that will be happening at Belleville Golf Course on the 16th of March.
Okay.
We already are. We are 20. There's about 24 balls that is indicated interest, and we have space for another 12 or 13. Last year we were oversubscribed purely because golfers
Wow.
are very selective.
Yeah.
You know, golfers, almal wil golf speel and they select, okay, right now ons gaan daar speel, we're going to play there. And
Yeah.
it's the cause. It's about the cause.
That is.
Very important. You know, so this year our golf day is taking place at Belleville. Like I said, I will keep the momentum going from next week onwards, because if February is done, then March is, you know, it goes very, very quick. And let me tell you, we have some very, very good contributions from individuals in and around the city that is going to be part of this day. There's a couple of well-known personalities that do play, although they can't play golf to save their lives. They just want to be part of the concept. You know, which is really appreciative. Then our other functions are obviously our Mandela Day on, you know, when we have a 67 minutes for Mandela.
Yeah.
That is normally on the 17th, 18th of July, where corporates come out and they do their CSI projects. So they'll have a whole list for 2 days, or for whatever the case may be, of who's coming out to Hanna's place for the day. So we'll have company A will come from 9 till 9:30. Company B will come from 9:45 to 10:15. So on that day, we have a massive drive in terms of awareness about Hanna's, and we just collect donations and clothing and what. And if we have too many of those things, too much is never enough, or too much, because we scale them down, and we also afford the other safe houses, you know, opportunities to have some of those. Because remember, not all safe houses are by the means. To have contacts, to have the resources and things like that. But if you come into Hanna's place now, you would look at this place and say, no, but die mense maak hier niks, man. They don't need anything. But that is the type of scenario that we want our kids to go into, from a house into a home that is well loved, well taken care of. You know, it must be a palace for those kids, because remember, our kids, when they arrive, they are broken.
Exactly.
Absolutely broken, because they have to be rehabilitated and we restore their dignity again, you know. And then the last function that we normally have is our old school event, which is always around about September, October. And that is raucous, because that is about 400-500 people, and we got 5 DJs, old school. It's just mad. Mad.
And you hire a place or a club, or what do you guys do?
Yes, we normally have the big civic centers out in the Mitchells Plain area. Either the Westridge or the Rockland Civic, or one of the school halls that can accommodate 500 to 600 people. Because let me tell you, ons mense wil dance, meneer. Hulle wil dance. And any opportunity to let their hair down.
They allow it.
So Rodney, how do people get in touch?
It's all about the cause.
How do people get in touch? Because this is a beautiful cause. This is an extraordinary cause. How do people get in touch? Can they just visit your website and get all the details there?
They can visit the website. They can visit the Facebook page, which is very active, and then obviously you have a telephone number that we can, if we allow to
we'll
share
all of that. We're doing that right now.
And then we can do that. Get involved. And like I said, we have beautiful, beautiful stories of, you know, children coming in from neglect and abandonment that ends up in places like Dubai with families, end up in places like Japan with families, that ends up living on farms, looking out on the Kruger. We are talking about kids that have been left under trees, in drains, abandoned on the Cape Plateau, where they eventually restored. We know they are restored. And we can talk forever about those kids. You must see, because we have a WhatsApp group of over 40 foster parents.
Wow.
And like today, we celebrated a few birthdays on the chat, and we say, hi, is this what the child looked like? She came in here as a 2-month-old, and she's now 2 years old. You know, so the success stories, Rhoda, it's amazing. It's amazing. Some of those kids might not recognize you, but they have certain tendencies, especially on our tree of life. So when you come and you'll see, look at there's Amber, there's Rhoda, there's John, there's Unati. Look at that. You know, so there's always continuity.
Beautiful.
There always is.
Oh, wow.
Rodney, that is where we're going to leave it. But thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us and sort of shedding light on Hanna's place of safety. And Lenny, I mean, from both of us and everybody here with the Mahala Monday, obviously our best wishes we extend to you and then everybody involved there. And we applaud you for the amazing work you do. And firstly, for just restoring dignity to really the most vulnerable people that join life. And that is really what it is about. It is a sad indictment that you need to work as hard as you do for this sort of thing, because it speaks really to the bad side of human nature, or what we sometimes as grown-ups and responsible, we claim to be responsible, take for granted. But thank you for doing that, because it is important that it is a big torch that your organization is holding there, and I'm sure your example will speak volumes to everybody else. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll share those details with the golf day, and of course for that big old school party, she's going to be there.
Must get the date. We must get the date.
It's like one of those things where there's an age restriction, isn't it?
Yeah. And just lastly, always remember, in foster care, you don't need the child. The child needs you as a foster parent. And I will leave everybody with that, because remember, there are plenty of beautiful kids out there. It is no fault of their own, but they all need love. We cannot save the world, but if we can make a difference in one kid's life, the victory is ours.
Oh, wow.
It certainly is.
Jeez, what a way to end that.
Rodney Brown, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. All the best there with Hanna's Place of Safety, and we wish you well, and good luck with the golf day, sir.
Definitely.
Good luck with that.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers. That is Rodney Brown. Of course, he's with Hanna's Place of Safety, and there you have it. So first things you got to go do is go check out their website, which is hannasplaceofsafety.org.za. Also, of course, there is a Facebook page that you can join, and we've been displaying some of the details throughout the course of the show. And if you want to make a financial contribution as well, that is the business account number, of course, where you can do definitely a donation, which is much needed. And as we can clearly see, I mean, we all know, we don't have to sugarcoat anything. We know the societies we live in. We know the issues we have, and this is not isolated to specific areas or anything. This is across the globe, but we also understand the current financial impact there is.
Yeah, especially where we're finding ourselves right now, Dougal. That people are struggling out there, and I mean, we've seen quite a bit and experienced quite a bit on some of the homes we've been to, and it really, really hits. It really hits the heart quite hard. And Dougal and myself always has this saying, and always have this thing, that you don't have to wait for Mandela Day to do things, and especially places like that. Yeah. They need nappies right through the year. They don't need it on Mandela Day, and they don't need to have the place painted necessarily. They need.
It was painted last year.
That was exactly so. Instead of wanting to go and paint or do a garden or something, guys, how about you guys donating, a group of you, and actually just going to take some nappies, take some wet wipes, and don't wait for Mandela Day. It can happen right through the year.
No, it can happen. I mean, you just got to listen to how this started with Janine Fabe. I mean, here's a person who's in corporate, excelling, traveling the globe, really making a mark as a woman.
Well done.
Firstly, let me just say, a woman of color who's breaking everything and just amazing, brilliant. And then goes, wait, this is important, I do this. And leaves that life behind.
I take my hat off to her.
And tries and do this amazing work.
Wow.
I mean, that is the big story there. So these are people who are doing amazing things. And what benefit is in there for them? You got to ask yourself, because that's often how people look at it. Well, it's trying to make the world a better place.
Exactly.
It is as simple as that. So that story, so this is two stories, and definitely something for us to get involved in. You know what Rodney said at the end there, the little babies, I mean, we're talking people who are days old here, hours, man.
Exactly.
This is not their fault.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
It's not.
And sadly, the most vulnerable, it's never their fault. We all know when bad decisions are made, the people who are powerless are the ones who suffer.
Exactly.
Powerful people don't suffer. Be as it may, you got to go check out their details and definitely make a contribution. But we wanted to showcase the story because it's an organization that, of course, has got a great reputation. It really has an outstanding reputation. And by all accounts, of course, the first golf day they had last year was absolutely a knockout and fantastic one. And we want you to be part of that. But definitely go check it out. So simply go to hannasplaceofsafety.org.za to check out all the details. Of course, you can find them on Facebook, and we've got those details for you on the screen. You can even email them if you choose to do so at hannasplaceofsafety@mweb.co.za. Check it out. That wraps it up for us for Mahala Monday for today. Of course, we'll be back with you very, very soon. As we told you earlier, we recorded this program a little bit earlier, and you get to watch this on the 6th of February. To our special guest, Rodney Brown, thank you so much for joining us. From ourselves, Dougal, hope you two look after yourselves and everybody around you, as well as Rhoda.
Yes.
Don't forget to like and share, everybody.
Don't forget. See you guys. Bye.